This is Can't Get Right MMA, and today I'm going to relay some information. That's a bar. Come on, come on. But yeah, I'm going to relay some information that SHAVKAT, he's back, man. He's not injured anymore, and I'm going to go over the summary in this video. I'm going to go over how SHAVKAT, he's back, obviously, like I just said. And Tom Aspinall, an update on him. I know I'm a bit late to this party with the whole Tom Aspinall situation, but not everybody's an MMA geek like me and just scouring, oh, what's going on. So I'm going to give y'all the videos. I'm going to react to them, give them my takes, and also give some information on what's being said about these videos. So let me get into the summary, man. There's going to be timestamps so you can look at all the topics as you want. And also, Shavkat, he's back on the prowl. He reveals a certain someone, man, has been actively turning him down. And he also talks about future matchups and fights for him, and really just making my video about how welterweight became the best division. He's just making that video age like fine wine. And we got a Tom Aspinall update about his eye, paperwork from the damage for the eye. He was talking about it on his YouTube. He also talks about Siragan's history of cheating, if he'll be back in the cage, when, and the frustrations he has with the UFC. As we all know, the UFC doesn't really like Tom Aspinall. Even some fans, for whatever reason, don't really like Tom Aspinall. And then Bully Tom teaches the MMA fans a lesson, bruh. So let's get into the video.
If it was up to you, Shavkat, who would you return against? Your next fight will be who?
Yeah, of course I would prefer to fight for the title next, but I think this timeline not going to work for Islam, February, March. Probably he will defend his belt in April, May, that time. Of course, if I can fight Islam next, I'm ready, I can do it. But also I was supposed to fight for a title, and I had a respectful reason not to take this opportunity, and I was promised also a title shot in the future. But again, if I have to fight before title shot again, I have no problem. I can prove again that I'm the number one contender. I'm the rightful contender. Whoever is on my timeline and whoever's going to put me in that title spot again, I'm going to fight.
Shavkat said he's ready around February to March, and he says Islam, he don't think he's going to be around that time. He's saying he's going to defend his title before then. And also, he said he had a claim to the title before he got injured, which is very true. He fought that number one contenders fight against Ian Gary, which he won. So obviously, it's him for the title, but I don't think it's him for the title next. The only reason being inactivity, right? I would want Shavkat to get the title shot as much as anybody else, obviously. But inactivity, the UFC is a business, man. They never reward someone for being inactive. It's just a fact. No matter how good you are, they're not going to give you a title shot for being inactive for around a year. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I want him to get the title as much as the next guy, but I just don't think it's going to happen. And also, speaking of that Islam fight, now I'm going to talk about the Islam fight later. Injury and the inactivity is the only thing that's stopping his claim to the title shot, where guys like Ian Gary, the guy that he beat Carlos Prates and Belal Muhammad, a former champion, after their fight. So that activity and him beating a former champion and strength of schedule, that is an good argument for Ian Gary to get the title shot, which is a guy that Shavkat he beat. Just off of that, and a lot of people are being stubborn and kind of not thinking for themselves and just say automatically, no, Shavkat, he's getting the title shot. Not realizing he's most likely not going to get the title shot due to inactivity. It's just how the business works, and it historically has worked. So if anybody would get the title shot, I think around Ian Gary would get the title shot. As much as people don't like to hear that, I just gotta say the truth of how the situation is. I know people don't like Ian Gary, but enough of Ian Gary, man. He says he has no problem fighting to get the number one contender spot again to fight for the title, which is, like I said, making my video about how welterweight became the best division. He's making that video just age like fine wine. I'm a prophet, I guess. I just see everything. But now let's get into who he would like to fight.
If that is the case, if they do make you fight someone else before fighting for the belt, who do you think makes the most sense for you?
Yeah, it's actually hard questions, a lot of things change in our division, but I see there's 4 or 5 good options for me. It can be Pradas, it can be Morales, it can be Usman, also Buckley been calling me out, JDM might be an option. Just give me opponent, give me time to prepare, and I'll be ready to face anyone.
This motherfucker, Shavkat called out 5 fighters in the ranking. Former champion Jack Del Maddalena, former champion Kamaru Usman, Number 2 contender, Michael Morales. Protest, who also got a win over former champion Leon Edwards. Buckley, you know what I'm saying? But shout out Buckley. But this is what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm talking about. How I love these fighters actually being fighters. Not Arman Sarukian wanting to sit out and bitching, complaining about not getting a title shot. He obviously should get a title shot now. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. This is my number 1 complaint about any fighters is inactivity itself. Obviously, with Shavkat Rakhmonov, he was forced to be inactive due to injury. Let me tell y'all who I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to fight. I think he's going to fight, and who I want him to fight. I think he's going to fight Jack Della Maddalena or Michael Morales. Now, I want him to fight Michael Morales due to the fact I think that's the hardest matchup for Shavkat Rakhmonov outside of Islam Makhachev, because I think it'll be harder for Shavkat Rakhmonov to grapple against Michael Morales, and obviously the power of Michael Morales. These two guys are basically middleweights. Dude, Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's a middleweight. Fucking Michael Morales, he's a middleweight. These guys are beasts for the division. Now, a lot of people want Michael Morales versus Carlos Prates, but I think that's like a Sandhagen versus O'Malley matchup. I just think it's like, oh, we want it, but it's just not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Or it's going to be postponed a while or some of the sort. But I think Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to fight Michael Morales, the number 2 contender, and that is just a banker fight. And actually, I think that's just his hardest test outside of Islam Makhachev is Michael Morales. But we'll get to Kamaru Usman. But like I said, he's just making my video about how welterweight became the best division. Go check that out. Just age very well, because these young undefeated fighters, or basically undefeated fighters, are just really respecting the division and want to actually be fighters and not just be into the politicking and, you know, this and that and this and that, you know, like some people do. Yeah, like I said, speaking of Usman, let's see what Ariel Helwani says to Shavkat Rakhmonov. He asked him, do you have a preference of who you want to fight?
Give me opponent, give me time to prepare, and I'll be ready to face anyone.
Do you have a preference?
The number 1 contender fight. The most interesting fight for me is Kamaru Usman, but I don't believe he's gonna accept the fight against me. He's been turning down fights against me in the past. And, Buckley been talking a lot, been calling me out for a while, so it will be good to shut him up. But also Prates, he's on a good streak, he's had a spectacular KO last time. And Morales too. So for me, it really doesn't matter. There's a lot of good options. And just give me the date and open in advance, and just make sure it's a number 1 contender fight.
On Sunday, Islam was speaking to reporters in Dagestan.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear what Shavkat Rakhmonov just said? He said Usman, he wants Usman, obviously, but he's been actively turning him down. Now let's go on this Usman rant, bro. Kamaru Usman, he's the real duck of the division, right? And, right, so look, he's ducking Belal Muhammad. Y'all be saying, he's ducking Belal Muhammad. What are you talking about? I'm going to get into that. And he's ducking Shavkat Rakhmonov, and he's ducking anybody else outside of whoever has the title. Now, let me tell y'all why. People want Usman to get the title shot. I was kind of on that board, right, before Ian Gary beat Belal Muhammad. I was kind of on that bandwagon, like, oh, he's the second greatest welterweight of all time. And let me tell y'all why he's ducking people, right? He wants to get the belt. This is Usman's plan. He wants to get the belt, go up to middleweight, and get that belt and retire. Usman, this is why everybody's saying, or especially Ian Gary is saying, he's a has-been, past tense, basically. Oh, I just made a bar hit. They didn't even say that, but he's a has-been, right? This is what I'm saying. Usman, people say it's delusional, but I don't think it's delusional, right? He had that close fight with Khamzat Chimaev. It was 4-rounder. Who knows what would happen if it was 5 rounds? You know what I'm saying? I don't get why people are saying that's delusional. And also, I think him versus Islam Makhachev, that would be a good stylistic fight. It would be way harder for Islam Makhachev to just hold down Usman. And in the striking, I think Islam would get the better. But I think it would just be a much better fight than Islam Makhachev versus JDM. This was my thoughts before, right? I don't think Usman should get the title shot now. But I do think that's probably what the UFC is going to do. They're either going to make him versus Ian Gary. They're either going to make Islam versus Ian Gary or Islam versus Usman. Probably Usman, to be honest, but hopefully it does not happen. Please, Shavkat, save us before Islam defends his title again, bro. Because that's the saying. I was going to get into that. Yeah, I don't think Islam Makhachev is going to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov, and I'm going to get into that later into this video. But like I said, Usman, man, he's been ducking Belal Muhammad. One, because he wants the title. I told y'all his plan. He wants the title and then move up. He's been ducking Belal because that interview, right, where he made Usman cry and they got a little beef going on. And yeah, he's always the guy. Who's Belal Muhammad? You know, he's always that guy doing bullshit like that, which kind of pisses me off. But also, he's been ducking Shavkat Rakhmonov. Why is he ducking Shavkat Rakhmonov? One, because obviously it's a super hard fight for him. And on top of that, they trained together, right? They trained together once. They trained together a couple times. So why would he fight Shavkat? You know, they're cool. You know what I'm saying? No, they're not, bro. Just y'all, Ian Gary versus Shavkat. They train together. Bro? These guys, Belal versus Morales. They train together. Obviously, they haven't fought, but dude, that just happens in the MMA space, bro. Yo, you train with high level guys, and sometimes they might be in your division. Dude, just because y'all train, oh, now y'all cool. This is what I was talking about earlier with the whole Ian Hamzat beef video. I mentioned also Belal Muhammad. Whenever Belal had the title, he was like, oh, me and Islam are never going to fight, right? Me and Islam are never going to fight. We're brothers. But whenever Islam had the title at welterweight, now it's, well, obviously you want to be the best in the world. So, of course, you know what I'm saying, that he wants to fight Islam. But he got shut down by Ian Gary. So, so yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This whole bullshit about, oh, we've trained together and we're cool with each other. That is just lame as fuck. So Usman is actively ducking Shavkat Rakhmonov, and he's been ducking Belal Muhammad because he doesn't want that footage of that podcast coming out where he slapped him, where Belal Muhammad slapped Usman and made him cry. But yeah, so yeah, this is why I don't want Usman to get the title shot now, is because him actively ducking, and yeah, I hate this politic game, you know? I really don't like it at all. This is why I think if Islam Makhachev defends his title before Shavkat gets another fight, I think it should be Ian Gary, right? Because if it's Usman, it's like, oh, it's lame. You know what I'm saying? I think they're going to do Usman, but I think it should be Ian Gary because he's been active, respecting the division, calling people out, saying his plans, and yeah, of course, he's a decisionator, so people don't like him, and also his other things, his personality, which is very like understandable to not like him. People think I just glaze Ian Gary, but it's kind of more of like pushing back against the hate, and people always love to talk about merit, but now that they don't like Ian Gary, it's like, oh, he does nothing in the division. You get what I'm saying? I love whenever fighters, like I said, fighters. Ian Gary, he says he wants to fight Shavkat Rakhmonov again and get that win back, and he wants to do it GSP style, you know what I'm saying, defend the belt, and also he was going to give Carlos Prates a chance to rematch him, and he talks shit, so it's like, bro, he's respecting the division, cutting promos, saying he wants to fight this guy and this guy and this guy, and he's a game fighter. Like, this is what I'm talking about. People need to look past their biases and really lock in. That's really it. Lock in, bro. Look past your bias. And that's why I want Ian Gary to get the title shot if Shavkat Rakhmonov doesn't get a fight before then and Islam defends his title. It might be Usman, but like I said, that would suck. People are comparing it to John Jones versus Stipe, but no, that's not John Jones versus Stipe at all. Completely different, but still kind of hacky nonetheless. And also, he said he wants to shut Buckley up. He's talking about the other fighters, but he said he wants to shut Buckley up. Y'all see that one? He's talking about black boy, you get beat up. What the fuck is Shavkat on, bro? So, I mean, he might fight Buckley. I think he's going to... I want him to fight Morales. I think he might fight Morales. But he also might fight Buckley just because, oh, you know what I'm saying? He's probably going to win that. As much as I like Buckley, he's probably going to win that. He's most likely going to win that, I should say. It's like a Arman Sarukin versus Dan Hooker. Obviously, Arman Sarukin was going to beat Dan Hooker. You get what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I don't think... It's just going to be like, oh, here's a opponent, a favorable matchup, and be back in title contention. So I don't think they're going to give him the immediate hardest fight in Michael Morales off the bat. You know what I'm saying? Or one of the hardest fights, Michael Morales, off of the bat after him being inactive, you know? Especially Michael Morales is still undefeated, and same with Shavkat. So they might match him up with Buckley or Jack Della Maddalena. Now, let's get into what Islam Makhachev has been saying about all this. Wait. Hold on, guys. I just seen a tweet, man, of Shavkat Rakhmonov. He's responding to Joaquin Buckley's call out. He said, "You are delusional. I'd rather fight the guy who just whooped you than waste time on you, kid. You can be my third option, Big Mouth." Is this Shavkat writing this, bro? Who is it? His manager? Who the hell is writing this shit for him, bro? But yeah, shout out Buckley though. I really do like Buckley, man. Obviously, I'm a USA guy, but it's not just because of that. Buckley, he's really good at cutting promos. He's hype, bro. You see a Blocking Buckley video, bro, him talking about his fights, his next matchups. It's like you can't help but to get hyped for it, bro. I fuck with Buckley, man. He's always been a cool dude. But what do y'all think, man? Is this fight gonna happen? Cause I think this fight might actually happen, him versus Buckley, just because they've been talking shit to each other. But like I said, let's get into what Islam Makhachev has been saying about Shavkat Rakhmonov and his inactivity and his claim to the title.
On Sunday, Islam was speaking to reporters in Dagestan. He said that you have not been active, and so he doesn't think someone who hasn't been active should get the next title shot. I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what he said. What is your response to that sentiment? Here's what he said, the quote, he hasn't fought in a year. A contender can't spend a year dealing with the injuries and then fight for the belt. And then, of course, he said, well, if he recovers and UFC decides that's next, then why not? But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that first sentiment about someone who hasn't fought in a year fighting for the belt upon their return.
Yeah, maybe Islam looking for more suitable, more convenient opponent for him. I believe I'm the most inconvenient, hardest fight for him in the division. I'm undefeated for a reason. I believe I can beat anyone in the division. But as Islam said, whatever UFC decides, and I believe he's gonna accept the fight. So if UFC is gonna decide I'm next, I also am not gonna miss this opportunity. I'm gonna take this fight.
And very quickly before I let you go, if
man, Islam and or his team said he shouldn't fight for the title for a valid reason, right? Him being inactive, the injury. That's a thing, bro. I don't get why people just write that off. That is a real thing. That inactivity, it's a real thing, man. And I'm not gonna be one of those guys and make that bold statement saying Islam Makhachev, man, he's ducking Shavkat, because that's just I don't know. That's kind of being hyperbolic, because obviously he said he would fight him, right? I just think he knows Shavkat is a hard fight for him and the hardest fight for him in the division. And if he could fight someone like Usman, which he's campaigning for, he would much rather fight Usman, right? And also, Islam Makhachev, he fights for legacy. He's not going to be like Volk fighting Diego Lopez for the second time for absolutely no reason. But yeah, he knows Shavkat is the most dangerous matchup for him. And of course, he wants to fight Usman for the legacy because Usman's credentials. But like I said, I'm not going to say he's ducking him, but he definitely is very, very, very aware that Shavkat is a beast and a hard matchup for him. And that's why I think this fight is never going to happen. I think Islam Makhachev, that Usman fight is going to happen because Ali Abdelaziz, the politics behind it and all this. I mean, if they let Jones Stipe, like I said, it's not Jones Stipe, but if they let Jones Stipe happen, they're definitely going to fucking put Islam Makhachev versus Usman. So I think that fight is going to happen. And I think Islam's going to retire, right? He, was a lightweight champion and defended his belt multiple times, became the lightweight GOAT, and then he went up to welterweight, became the double champ, defended against one of the greatest welterweight fighters of all time. He's definitely going to retire. So I don't think that Shavkat Rahman, I'm sorry I got to shoot it down, but I just don't think that Shavkat versus Islam fight is ever going to happen, which sucks, man, which really does suck. Shavkat is the most dangerous fight for him, and I'm going to get into why after this, but let's see what Shavkat Rakhmonov thinks about this matchup.
And very quickly before I let you go, if in fact you do fight Islam, could you give us a taste, a preview? How does this fight play out in your mind? You versus Islam, he's looked so good. He's won 16 in a row, so dominant. How do you think the fight plays out?
I believe it's going to be a very, very competitive fight. Islam is great, and he will believe he's going to do his thing and try to take me down. But I can cause him problems everywhere. In a stand-up, I believe I can defend his takedowns. I believe I can cause trouble in the clinch. And I stand on my points that I'm the most inconvenient opponent for him. And I believe that his team and he himself knows that too.
Well, the great news is you are back, you are healthy, and this is a big problem for the welterweight division. So happy to hear this. Welcome back, Shavkat. I wish you nothing but the best.
Hey, you heard it from him yourself, man. Obviously, Shavkat knows he's the hardest fight for him, and he even said Islam Makhachev and his team know Shavkat is the hardest fight for him. Like I said earlier, they definitely know that. They definitely are very aware of that because, just Habib and their manager, like their eye for the game, they're realistic, right? That's why they're fighting for legacy. They're definitely going to be like premeditated when it comes to their matchups, the styles, like. You know what I'm saying? It makes perfect sense. But my opinion of the fight and how it would play out if this fight ever happens, like I said, I don't think it's gonna happen. But if this fight happens, I think of course Shavkat is the hardest fight for him, and he could definitely get a win. He can definitely win against Islam Makhachev. This being the reason. And all right, Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's big as fuck, right? And I know it gets proved wrong every single time. Oh, the bigger man or whatever it's not what cracked up to be, right? Lighter man skill and the fighters just being too big for him isn't really what comes down to a fight, right? And you may say, Islam Makhachev, he proved him being able to defeat a bigger guy whenever he went up and got the welterweight belt. But JDM, he's not a big guy for the welterweight division. They are literally the same size. He didn't beat the bigger man. He beat a slower guy. No diss to JDM. He just beat the bigger guy up. He just beat a guy up a weight class that's slower than him. Like I said, no diss to JDM, but JDM's not bigger than Islam Makhachev. You know what I'm saying? They're literally the same size. And Shavkat Rakhmonov, he's a middleweight. When it comes to Shavkat Rakhmonov, he is problems for Makhachev every single where. The clinch, the ground, and the stand-up. Dude, he's just so big. Like I'm saying, he's literally a middleweight. Malcolm Morales and Shavkat, they're middleweights. They're welterweight, but they're middleweight size. Is the roles are reversed, right? Where Shavkat can come crashing in with stepping knees, can manipulate Islam in the clinch. People always throw around Khabib and Islam Makhachev. They're weight bullies. To diminish them. I don't use that to diminish them or dismiss them. It's just a reality thing. Yes, he's significantly bigger than his opponents when he was at lightweight, and he was the same size against JDM. And when he's really facing a bigger guy who's very well-rounded, such as Shavkat Rakhmonov, who has a submission threat, who has the KO, TKO threat of Shavkat Rakhmonov, dude, that's problems for him all day. Like, this is a nightmare matchup. And people are gonna just throw it off like, yeah, he beats Islam. Come on, guys. He beats Islam. People think, like, I don't get it, bro. Like, I know I get it, the aura of Islam Makhachev. Dude, he's beatable. He's got knocked out before. You know what I'm saying? He's beatable. Just because he has all these accolades doesn't mean it's just blasphemy saying he could lose or have a tough fight against somebody. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely Shavkat is the worst stylistic matchup for Islam Makhachev. And me personally, I don't think that fight will ever happen. Not me saying that Islam Makhachev is ducking him, but I just think, like I said, they fight for legacy, and he's probably going to retire very soon. And it sucks that fight might not happen. But all right, guys, I'm gonna just go over the Tom Aspinall situation. I'm gonna skim over it really, because I know everybody's already heard about this throughout the MMA scene, but I just want to go over it quickly. I want to go into more depth of it whenever I made this video idea, which sucks. I'm not gonna be able to, but hey, man, I just want to get this video out for y'all and put my opinions out there. How his eye is doing? It's doing bad. It is doing bad. He has like all types of. You can look at the paperwork. You can find it. It's just bad. He has Down syndrome. Down syndrome, and in his eye, a lot of his eyes messed up. I'm not gonna read through the thing, you know. And Tom Aspinall, he looked back. He thought like, oh, it was just a regular eye poke. But when he looked back, he said he did it on purpose. And I think Cyril Gane did do it on purpose because he brings up Gane's history of cheating. Dude, Cyril Gane is a dirty fighter. And this whole purposeful, not purposeful thing, I hate this thing, bro. Why can't you just not cheat, bro? Dude, people always talk about, oh, it's a habit that you can say they stick their fingers out. Dude, Piotr Jan, you can see him actively not sticking his fingers out whenever he, like, his long guard, he literally closes his fist every single time nowadays. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, it's so ingrained. People just excusing it, right? Cyril Gane, he's a dirty fighter. I'm going to say it, bro. He's a dirty fighter. John Jones, he's a dirty fighter. You know what I'm saying? It's not that hard to, obviously, it's not that hard to see it with your own eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can say, oh, it's just an accident. But when you see it with your own eyes and someone has a history of cheating and you see them purposely cheating, it's like, bro, I'm not going to excuse it. I'm going to call them a dirty fighter. And Tom, he went full heel calling. He was, I didn't expect Tom Aspinall, of all people, exposing Gane a bit. So it was pretty cool seeing that in the video. Yeah, and also Cyril Gane, he didn't reach out to him, apologize. And I know it's just like, it's not like the craziest thing, but it's kind of like, dude, you fouled this guy. Why you know what I'm saying? And you did all that shit, you're not even gonna apologize or reach out to him. I'm not saying like he's just a piece of shit and all this or whatever, but and getting my feelings over it. But it's just like, oh, that's pretty interesting, like a side of Cyril Gane, you know. And he just calls him a dirty cheater. Also, Dana White saying that Tom was bladed up and didn't want to continue. Who gives a shit about the eye pokes? And Aspinall, he kind of went over that and said, obviously that's just, he was mad about that because, like, dude, are you just Dana White, man? Dana White is just lost. He's not really into the UFC anymore, you know? So what can I say about that? Like I said, I'm just going to skim over this for y'all. And he said when he can start training again, he doesn't know. He doesn't know what's next when he can start training again. He's still having recovery on his eye and everything going on with his eye. And he needs more weeks to recover, visit with the doctors. And yeah, I want to go over Tom's unfortunate history. But then he KO'd Curtis Blades. He's been inactive because John Jones diddling heavyweight. And just being like John Jones, he was never a heavyweight champion in my eyes, bro. He was not an actual champion. He held the belt. He was not a champion. Tom Aspinall was always a champion in my eyes whenever he defended the belt against Curtis Blades. So yeah, he was inactive, and eventually he got forced to be inactive for that long. And on his first ever title defense, he gets fouled, and now all the fans switch up on him. People are trying to make false narratives, and I went over the narratives in the video I made about Tom Aspinall, right? I said Tom Aspinall, he's still the baddest man on the planet, and I was going over in there. So if y'all want to see my actual full opinion on that, go watch that video. Much older video, but hey, man. Hey, yo, like, comment, subscribe, man. I need 50 subscribers to be able to stream on YouTube. I got so much streaming plans for y'all. Dude, I really want to spill all the stuff out. I spilled it out in my earlier video that I made, but I got a lot of plans.